Kevin Smith with us on Gorman in the Morning. Dogma, after 25 years of sitting on a shelf collecting dust at Miramax, you've got it back. First things first, how long did it take you to get it back?
It took a while. I've been trying to access this movie, not necessarily get it back, but from its 10th anniversary on. So I stopped working at the Weinstein Company in 2008. So 2009 was its 10th anniversary. Mm-hmm. And I remember I started reaching out then being like, hey, man, you guys have Dogma. Because for those who don't know, Miramax made Dogma back in the day when it was owned by Disney. And Disney did not like this movie. And so they asked the guy who owns Miramax or ran Miramax, Harvey Weinstein, to get rid of the movie. So Harvey bought the movie personally. Then he licensed it to a young Canadian company called Lionsgate for theatrical distribution and Sony, Columbia TriStar for home video. And then forgot about it. And then went off and had his career. And then, of course, other things which we learned about later in the press. So he owned it for years. And on the 10th anniversary, I reached out to be like, hey, can we do a thing for Dogma? Never heard back. 15th anniversary, same thing, never heard back. 20th anniversary, he was already in jail. And I figured, all right, well, he needs money. He must need money. So I wrote and said, hey, man, can I buy? I made 3 offers. First offer was $250,000. His lawyer said no. $500,000. Lawyer said no. Then I called up famous people that got more money than me, went back with $1 million offer. We were still told no. We were told that he was holding out for $5 million. And I was like, if I had $5 million, I would make a new movie. Never mind buying some old ass movie. So at that point, 20 years ago, for the 20th anniversary, so it'd be 5 years ago, that was the last effort I made. And I figured if I wasn't going to get it then, it was never happening. And so I just put it to the side and let the dream die. Then 8 months ago, Alessandra Williams, who I consider to be the guardian angel of Dogma. She saved my movie from about angels from the devil himself. She called up to say, I bought Dogma and I know you wanted to take it out into the world. Can we talk about it? And so I met her. She's this wonderful woman who grew up in my neck of the woods in Jersey, younger than me. She was 10 when Dogma came out, and her mom was permissive and let her watch it. And she fell in love with the movie as a kid, and it was her favorite flick. Then she grew up and had a life and stuff. And she saw me talking about it on the internet last year, going I was trying to get the movie back, can't get it back from Harvey Weinstein. And she was like, I love that movie. More people should see it. Literally got involved, just no connection whatsoever, raised financing, approached him, and got to buy a library of films that he personally owned. The Dogma was one of them. Michael Moore's Fahrenheit 9/11 that came out after us. He had to do the same thing, bought that back. And Rosario Dawson's first movie, Kids, same thing. He had bought that even before Dogma. So she bought that and some karate movies, I guess he had bought in the wake of Kill Bill that he personally owned, not a part of Miramax, not a part of Weinstein Company. So she sold off the rest, held on to Dogma, and then reached out to me. And she was like, I got your movie back for you. What do you want to do with it? So unbelievable. I tried to make this happen many times over the course of the years, and I've got connections, juice, access to money, and I made the damn movie and could not make it happen. This fan who was just going I think it would be nice if people saw this movie, got involved and literally did the impossible for me. So I've been touring the movie all last month. I took it to 20 cities across the country, including I went to Minneapolis, went 2 shows a night, 2 Q&As afterwards. Then last week, I went back to the Cannes Film Festival. They invited the movie. We had been there in 99 with the flick. We went back for a section called Cannes Classics, and that's because Alessandra submitted the movie. So this lady, let me tell you something. You want to get something done in the movie business? Hook up with this lady. What a manifester, as the kids say. Unbelievable. So now, and one of the first things she asked is would you want to do a sequel? I was like, oh God, yes. So I've been working on the sequel for the last 6 months.
I've never heard a story that comes close to that in my life. I know one guy who got his favorite band a record deal after they'd already broken up. That's as close as I can get.
That's the power of fandom, man.
Yeah.
Somebody, and I'm not dismissing her. She's just a fan, but she had passion for this film. I had passion for the film as the filmmaker, and I eventually gave up where I was just that's a hill that's too high to climb. She, timing has a lot to do with it because he was going back into court for a new round of trials. So I guess he needed money, legal defense money. So she went in there and bought all those movies for pretty decent price, sold off the rest. And now we're just working on getting her reimbursed for Dogma. And so far, so good. That tour alone, those 20 dates, was like $500,000 right there. So
incredible.
Closer. Yeah. I mean, I can't thank her enough. And when people are like, you did it, I was like, I did nothing. I received it. Make it happen. I was impotent.
Yeah.
But thankfully, Jersey Strong got it done.
Talk about the actual film now, Dogma, which I haven't seen in forever, like most people. So, but you, after all these years, you wrote it. Like you said, you made the film. There's nothing in that movie that's going to surprise you. That said, anything still surprise you? Like, when's the last time you saw something in that and went, either I forgot about it or that's even better than I remembered, or, anything like that?
There's, I've gotten to re-engage with the movie over the course of the last month. So I've watched it like every night. And then in Cannes, I sat through the entire screening because most of the audience hadn't seen it. Like I do all the informal poll every night. Like, how many people have seen Dogma? And all across the tour, it was like 98% of the audience. And then I was like, how many people have never seen it in a theater before? And then that was a good section of people who would just know it from home video. And then I'd always ask, how many people have never seen Dogma before tonight? And 10 or under would clap their hands. And I'd be like, why would you pay $50 to see a movie you've never seen? So I watched it every night with an audience. And then I watched it at Cannes all the way through, because that was the flip. When I was like, how many people have seen Dogma before? It was like 20%. Most of the audience hadn't seen it. So I was like, I want to see how it plays with like a modern audience.
For sure.
And it was blissful. I was so glad I stayed for that screening. So that's a long way of saying that I've been re-engaged with this movie pretty hardcore for the last month. And I have no regrets. I was worried going in that I was like, well, it is a 90s movie. It might make it be cringing through the whole movie, but it holds up, man. Like
nice.
It's pretty, I don't want to go so far as to say it's pretty enlightened, but there was nothing where I was like, sorry, it was the 90s. Yeah. If there are cringe moments, it has more to do with like the effects. Like, so at one point, Ben Affleck is flying down with his wings. He plays an angel. And he's landing in front of the church, and like everyone's looking up in horror as this guy is coming down. It's supposed to be this big moment. And his wings are the earliest form of CG. Like you could do a better version today with an 8-bit computer. Maybe we should have read that. But I liked it living the way it looked when the movie came out. But here's the one thing. There's a scene that I regret. Not regret, but I'm like, well, we didn't know when this movie happened. So there's a scene where George Carlin, who plays Cardinal Glick in the movie, the world's most famous lapsed Catholic playing a cardinal, he says the Catholic Church does not make mistakes. And then Chris Rock's character, Rufus, the 13th apostle, left out of the Bible because he was black. And Bethany, Bethany, who is Linda Fiorentino's character, she's the great grandniece of Jesus Christ. And Jay and Silent Bob are trying to convince the cardinal to call off this rededication event before all hell breaks loose at this church in the third act. So they're saying that this is going to be a big mistake. And he goes, the Catholic Church does not make mistakes. And they point out two very glaring examples of Catholic Church mistakes, one of which is the silence during the slave trade and their silence during the Holocaust. Mm-hmm. And then Carlin goes, all right, mistakes were made. So every night I watch that, and there's a glaring omission. Like the list feels like it should go one more. But when we wrote this movie, the child sex abuse scandal was not known. Like, you know, I'm sure, believe me, there were people that knew, but they kept it quiet. So it does mark it in time where like probably the church's most egregious mistake is not addressed in this movie at all. And that's solely because we didn't know. Like that story didn't break until after Dogma.
Kevin Smith's with us on Gorman in the Morning. One last question about the actual, going back to the making of the film. Like you just said, very offhanded, George Carlin. Okay, George Carlin for crying out loud. George Carlin. Yeah. Not to mention Matt and Ben, who were already Matt and Ben by that time. Chris Rock, Alan Rickman. I mean, this is, did you walk in day one and go, what have I gotten myself into? Because this cast has aged very nicely.
That's how I know, you know, when the movie came out, there were a bunch of people trying to say, like, you know, God would hate this movie and stuff, as if anybody knows what God's movie tastes are.
Right.
I always like to think that God must have loved the idea of this movie because that cast is stellar. And not only was it stellar for then, it's still stellar now. All of them are still viable working, with the exception of the people we've lost, like Alan and George. So this was me coming off of Chasing Amy, and also we co-executive produced Good Will Hunting. So like the boys were blowing up, and Ben had always loved the script, like going way back to like 1995 post Mallrats is when he had read the Dogma script, and he was like, I want to be Bartleby. And I was like, well, good luck with that. I said, the only way this movie ever gets made is if a movie star is in that role and stuff. And he goes, you got to let me play Bartleby. I was like, hey, we'll become a movie star. And they did. And so first day we were shooting on Dogma, his first take, like right before I said action, he goes like this beyond, from where he's sitting, I'm behind the camera, and I noticed, and I was like, what's up? And he goes, movie star. And I was like, you're absolutely right. If you're here playing Bartleby, you must be a movie star. So it was crazy, man. I've never, at that point, that was the best cast I ever had. And inarguably, I think is probably the best cast I've ever had across the boards in a movie, man. And they honored like this goofy little movie that the kid who wrote it and directed it just wanted to celebrate his faith. He was tired of going to church and sitting around with people. It felt like they were mourning their faith. He was so into his faith. He just wanted to make a Sunday service the way he thought would be like exciting, that would engage people. Like that's what Dogma is. Dogma is a child's prayer. It's my idea of a Sunday service with anal jokes in it to make it go down smoother.
And oh boy, does it. So I've got one quick one. It's been a pretty tough movie to come by the last decades. Where can you spill the beans on platforms, services that will be able to catch it sooner than later?
Absolutely. So first up, June 5th, it's in theaters everywhere. You go down to your movie theater.
Oh, great.
On the big screen and stuff for like, the low price of whatever a matinee costs or something like that. And then a home video release. Well, streaming will probably happen about 2 months after that. Okay. We're just about to close our deal with our home video partner. And then more importantly, there'll be a kick-ass steelbook probably by Christmas. But June 5th, they can just walk down to a movie theater and party like it's 1999 and pretend that you're going to see Dogma for the first time way back then. But it's 2025.
Well, and I will say this, I kind of glossed over that, and I shouldn't have, because I'm a massive fan of go see movies in theaters. We would be remiss if we didn't ask about Mallrats, Eden Prairie Center, 30th anniversary. Can we manifest this?
What a brilliant idea. And honestly, like we tried a few years ago. We were like, hey, man, let's go screen Mallrats at the movie theater at the mall. And it fell through. But this would be the year to do it because, I've had my head up Dogma's ass for the last 2 months. Is the 30th anniversary of Mallrats. So we've done a screening at my own movie theater. Jason, I did it by myself. Mallrats 30th, where I stopped every scene and then got up, told stories, and then started. Jason Lee, has been to my theater many times for Mallrats screenings, and he was like, we got to do 30th anniversary. So I think we're going to do a 30th anniversary screening for Mallrats out here in Los Angeles. We're going to do another one in October with Jason back at Smog Castle Cinemas. But the one that now you've got lit a fire under my ass is at Eden Prairie, like at Eden Prairie Center.
Bring it. It's got to happen.
Yeah, I think that would sell out in a heartbeat. And we could do it, scale it like I've done it on the tour. Like, and when I was on tour, when we screened in Minneapolis, it wasn't at that mall. And everybody's biggest question was like, why aren't we at Eden Prairie Center? And it was just because the mall that we were at, their AMC was their highest grossing in that quarter and stuff. So, but we did 2 shows a night, so we can stagger it. Even if the movie theaters aren't that big, you could probably sell out all the theaters, then Q&A one after another, man. You know what? I'm on it.
Hey, Kevin, as we say around here now, bring your ass. All right?
Yes,
make it happen.
yes.
That's right.
All right. This is a rock station. So last but not least, first concert you ever saw, and what band have you seen the most times?
First concert I ever saw was Beastie Boys, Run DMC, LL Cool J, and I saw it at the in Long Island where the Islanders play.
Yeah, Nassau Coliseum.
Oh,
that's
man.
a flex right there. That's a flex, my man.
That's going way back. And then let me see, who have I seen?
Yeah, rock band, any artist, any genre, but you musical act. Who have you seen the most?
Alanis, I think.
Oh yeah.
Because I was friends with her and stuff, I got to see her more than I would ever go see live music. Live music is tough for me because the musicians are always louder than the lyrics, and I'm a lyrics guy and stuff. Uh-huh. So at an early age, I was just like, I engaged with it sparingly. But because of her and because I love her stuff and because she's in the movies and stuff, I got to go. I was to about 4 Alanis Morissette shows.
Right on. Kevin, it's a pleasure.
And oddly enough, here just for Side note.
Yeah.
I've been to the artist I've been to the second most shows, Dolly Parton. One year I went to 3 Dolly Parton shows.
Right on.
It was so good. I saw it with her in Vancouver. And then I came back and she was going to be at the was down the hill, the Hollywood Bowl. So I told my wife, I was like, I know you're not like Dolly Parton person, but this show was incredible. And so we went to that show. And then she was in Tampa and I was like, Ma, you got to come with me to see Dolly Parton. And so I saw Dolly Parton 3 times in 1 year. I'm not even like the world's biggest Dolly Parton fan, but who doesn't love Dolly Parton?
If you see her live, though, I saw her the year she turned 70. I went to see her. And I just sat in absolute awe, disbelief for 90 minutes.
It's crazy. It's transcendent. Like one of my favorite bits was she played saxophone. So you're talking about like a woman in her 70s blowing on the sax, man. And she was playing yakety sax, which is like one of the more difficult sax tunes to play, the Benny Hill song. So she plays it and you're like, oh my God. And she's like, you know what? I've been practicing and I could play it backwards for you already. And everyone's like, oh my God. And then all she does is turn her back to the audience and play again. Adorable.
It's great.
Adorable.
Absolutely. A true American treasure.
100%.
Kevin Smith, thanks so much for the time. And we are on call for the Mallrats gig, man. Let us know.
Yeah, we need to be involved.
You watch. Let's happen.
Thanks, Kevin. Take care, man.
Such a pleasure. Great talking to you.